Nira Breezestone. Nira Breezestone wakes before dawn, the wind already sweeping over the cliffs of her coastal hamlet. As a wind-swept ranger, she patrols the cliffs, watching the gulls that circle the jagged rocks and the sea that mirrors the sky. The villagers trust her to keep the cliffs clear of fallen driftwood and to warn them when storm clouds gather. Yet beneath her steady gaze, a quiet unease grows, like a tide that refuses to recede, as if some unseen force presses against the horizon, hinting that the peace she knows is only a surface veneer. One morning, a sudden surge of water rushes through the narrow passage that leads to the seaweed grove, carrying a thicket of mirrored seaweed that glints like silver ribbons. The tangled mass blocks the path that Nira knows so well, choking the breath of the tide and leaving the villagers vulnerable. The emergency summons the ranger to leave her familiar cliffs and venture inland, where old stone tracks twist toward the unknown cliffs of the northern ridge. Nira walks the unfamiliar ridge, trying to clear the tangled seaweed with the simple tools she carries. She cuts, pulls, and pushes, but the seaweed seems to shift, forming new twists each time she makes a cut. The wind grows stronger, throwing sand into her eyes, and the tide rises faster than she can cut it. With each attempt, the seaweed tightens, and Nira feels the weight of failure pressing against her spine. At the foot of the ancient stone circle, Nira finds an old, weathered tablet etched with a warning. When the sea reflects the sky, turn the wind against the tide. She realizes that the seaweed's shine is not a curse, but a mirror, reflecting the wind's own direction. The insight strikes. Rather than cutting, she must turn the wind's force into the very tool that will part the tangled growth. Returning to the coast, Nira climbs the highest ridge and lifts a battered sail. She sets it to catch the gale, letting the wind roar through the sail like a blade. The seaweed, reflected in the sail, shivers and untangles under the force of the directed wind. Now the tide rises higher, and the seaweed's mirrored surface creates a swirling vortex that threatens to swallow the shore. The villagers watch in fear as the tide swells, and the stakes become the very survival of the hamlet. The wind howls louder as Nira steers the sail, turning her own body into a fulcrum. The seaweed's mirrored filaments become a ladder, moving as one under the gale. Nira stands on the crest of the cliff, feeling the storm's teeth on her skin as she pulls the rope. The vortex collapses into a torrent that crashes against the cliffs, but the swirling force pulls the seaweed apart, clearing the passage. The clash tests Nira's resolve, her breath stilted, her heart beating like the tide itself. When the wind finally settles, the mirrored seaweed lies broken, scattered like glass on the sands. The water calms, reflecting the quiet sky. The villagers, seeing the tide recede, gather around Nira, who stands bruised but unbroken. The wind-swept ranger whose eyes now hold the knowledge that a storm can be both foe and ally. She returns to her daily patrol, but with a deeper understanding that the quiet beneath the surface can be harnessed, and that the wind she loves will always shape the path forward.